Hey guys, okay, so gonna go through my watch list and basically just go through perhaps maybe even the wild cards for this week. So this week's been somewhat of a little bit of a slower week, yet not the slowest, but I did miss some trades in my plan, which completely okay. I mean, um, I just couldn't catch one of the trades on GBP New Zealand dollar, which I'll go through later. Um, However, I did take a few losses this week actually. I started the week quite strong. I think coming off last week as well, being so aggressive and so profitable. Banking like over 20% last week. Coming into this week, I guess taking the break evens was about normal. I was definitely getting involved in the right areas. I guess I was just a little bit too tight. What I was doing was I was entering and then moving it to break even, kind of just protecting myself. And I think perhaps maybe that methodology wasn't really working for me. But usually I want to stay quite protected. So yeah, it just happened. So going to jump straight into it. So yeah, the DXY. So essentially, the DXY has been selling off quite aggressively. It's no surprise that we get these small corrections and just sell off. Um, I'm seeing this on countless pairs at the moment. I mean, more so, it's not the sort of pattern I am looking to take. I mean, it is an area that definitely was of value, this area, and revolving with the Euro USD as well. If it came down to that area, I would have got involved, but unfortunately I just wasn't able to capture that trade. So it is what it is, but it is selling off nicely. I think what I did say on the Sunday market breakdown was, Euro USD is one to definitely have on watch, and I think having it just there as a bonus has been somewhat of a extra benefit because if something does shape up, it's definitely a amazing instrument to just have in the background. So Euro USD and DXY. All right, wicked. So next one I've got is silver. Silver's pretty good. I've got a trade on at the moment. I'm hoping this one's going to commit, taking it on the 1 hour retrace. But I'll do a top-down analysis for you. So on a weekly, basically what I've seen is price came in here, created some very messy, not filled ascending, had a double top, push down, another double top, push down, another double top, push down. And it seems like that's the pattern at the moment. Are we going to get a double top here? Probable because we're seeing it time and time again, nearest inflection point, but not the high. That's the thing. The high, which essentially we could say is here, it's not going to get filled. So 1, 2 won't get filled, but the nearest low, this one, will get filled. It'll break and then push low. And I've seen that happen quite a few times now. So I'm observing this sort of pattern down here and seeing the same thing. We've had a 1, 2, 3 and a push above, a 1, 2, 3 and a push above. Now, perhaps I'm looking too much into it, perhaps I'm not, but 1, 2, 3 push above, and the override one is being, well, override one was actually over here. And that was broken above, and then we tapped into this sort of inflection zone here. So would I say this is the override? No, I'd say this is the inflection one, basically, off where we are. So yeah, inflection zone, and with that inflection zone, yeah, we tapped into it and then we started moving low. Now what I'm currently looking at is prices moving quite aggressively to the upside. Can we go to that override? Absolutely. Are we moving in a sustainable nature? Not so much, because we came in from correction to impulse to correction to impulse to corrective leg up. So this is definitely giving me all signs of a potential sell. One of the reasons I went for the and I'll quickly just show you. So I went for the retrace candle on this corrective leg is mainly because of this override. So it's a mini double top, of course, but more so it kind of was in line with this high. So this high over here was giving me that 1, 2, 3 fill, 1, 2, 3, which was my first override. Broke it ever so slightly, pushed up, pushed down ever so slightly, and spiked up, took out some stops, and now I'm looking for that selling opportunity. Um, that for me is pretty much the gameplay. I think I took an entry over here before previously, Um, and then it ended up with a break even. Then I took another one, pushed down, pushed back up, took a break even. It is what it is. Unfortunately, the 1, 2, 3 didn't play out, but we did get the extension. It was an impulsive approach, so it was definitely a very risky trade. And I think I learned from that break even that, was I really, really following my plan? No, not really. I was actually trying to squeeze in an AFT or true risk entry. I do have true risk entry in my plan. However, it's in extreme circumstances. And I think in this particular case, with the override being so near and two overrides, of course, and the higher time frame being so near, that is something that I had to amend into my plan. Mention, if I'm taking a true risk entry, it can't be near a override because many times we'll see the M stars, it just extends and pushes. And right now that's what we're seeing. So we filled in a very valuable point for myself, point of sell off. And I think for that point, I'm very happy. And then we've tapped into an inflection point before we sold off. So it's giving me that additional confluence that I really want to see because when I do take these positions, I want to stack them confluences in my favor. So what I'm seeing here is we've got the 1, 2, 3 on the daily 4 hour structure. I'd say it's more of a daily structure. And then we squeezed up now, and then we've got this sort of squeeze. Now, I wouldn't say this is my traditional squeeze. I say this is more of a structured approach, more so because we have impulse, correction, impulse, rejection. Okay. Now, can this definitely squeeze up? Yes. Can this push an impulse? Yes. Can this sell off? Yes. So, what I'm looking for right now is that impulsive leg. So, by me entering into this market on the 1 hour, because I can see what's happening on the 4 hour clearly, this is my sort of squeeze, and this is my squeeze here. Now, if we were to carry on, we would have pushed up, squeezed, and then carried on in this sort of very corrective leg and looked for something on more of a phase line, push down on the flag. I'm not seeing that. I'm seeing that this is the override. Previously, we bypassed the override, we broke it. Previously, bypassed, broke it. This time, we broke it, but we sold off. Couldn't get commitment. Then we started to trickle. And then as we got there during high spread hours, which is okay, it's normal, especially during low liquidity hours of Asian session as well. Sometimes the market doesn't move as aggressively or with a lot of um, momentum. We start to see it correcting to UK session. Then behold, around about 7 o'clock, we get a spike up and then a 1 hour retrace, pull straight back in. Now, this is the sort of London session trade I'm looking for. I'm looking for that sort of commitment from the market for traders to want to be getting involved in this because I'm seeing silver in a very, very valuable area. However, there is a more valuable area just above it, the higher time frame override over here. However, taking this 1 hour retrace, I was more than happy to do it. Now, the other question is, how come I didn't take the full candle retrace? Well, I was more than happy to take this as a 10 pip. Well, it's 11.3. Um, More so because time and time again, I've seen that when we do get these retrace candles, we don't tend to go and fully retest it. And I think from just going back and evaluating loads of price when we have had the 1 hour retraces, I kind of had that experience. This was one where we did, but then it wasn't really in any sort of major sort of zone for me. So I was kind of like, okay. But then I was looking at a lot of the other times, and 9 out of 10 times, we sell off. So if we sell, we sell. And that's the sort of price action I'm looking for. I'm looking for if we sell, we sell. And I can protect myself by covering over 50% of the candle. It's enough for me. So that was the context for me just taking that. I knew the risks involved, so that's completely fine. And yeah, that was basically it. That's my silver trade. Really happy with it, really confident. Gonna definitely see how this plays out. I definitely have room to move it to break even now, but I think I'm gonna remain and stay aggressive with this, and see how this plays out. Nice. So the next one I've got is EuroCAD. EuroCAD's definitely in a very valuable area. So EuroCAD's one that I've marked as red, meaning that I'm going to be keeping it on watch today. Essentially, what I'm seeing is override 1 and 2, very similar to what I had on silver, but there is many more inflection points along the way. So not married to any of these overrides. Um, I would say that the main reason for it is I'm seeing this expanding inside here. So the middle section is being confirmed because we've basically had a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. We've met the 1, 2, 3, and then we've got a very nice pattern within a pattern. However, it's very impulsive at this point, which I don't I'm not too fond of, I'll be honest with you. I think it's more so um, it's interesting, but it's not really for me at this point. So the push down on the flag is more interesting. The further down the push, the better it is. I'll let it push, come back down, create a flag, and I'm in. So we've got the 1, 2, 3, which is the most important part for me. Everything else is slightly more irrelevant at this point because I can't really determine where the high is for this sort of little final squeeze. This is contemplatable on the 1 hour because we have very corrective sort of moves, but let's say it's impulse correction, and this corrective squeeze. So it's a corrective approach, but when you go to the higher time frames, it definitely does not look corrective. It definitely looks very impulsive. So it's an impulsive leg, absolutely. And I think a solid push down on a flag. This is the sort of flag that I want to really get involved in. This is the line in the sand that I've drawn here, mainly because it goes below the override and it's really pushed back into this pattern. It's coming back down into this area here. By that time, we've probably created some sort of head and shoulders or something. So there's a few variations of what can really play out, but I think definitely looking for risk entries in this area. Risky. I think looking for a push down on a flag so high up is also quite risky. But I think, if we do get commitment, and one thing I am quite interested in seeing is, can we get something similar to this? And oops, what am I doing? Yeah, so can we get something like this? Oh, how do I inverse this mirror? There we go. Oh, nope, not mirror, flip. And then mirror again. There we go. That's not exactly what I wanted, but and yeah. So if we get something like that, that's quite nice. It's not common for us to see stuff like that every day, but boy, that would be the best. What's it called? Pattern that we could have. Um, Obviously, it's yeah, yeah, yeah. Cool. So we're going to move on to the next one. Next one is Aussie CAD. Aussie CAD is really one of the ones that has just gone further than I thought. This was my major line in the sand. We've basically just impulsed away. I did take a loss on this, unfortunately. I thought I was being smart. And you have to realize, you can't be smarter than the markets. The market is not predictable. It's unpredictable. And that was just a solid smack in the face reminder for me that, don't try be so smart with the markets because the markets don't care. Um, so essentially, I saw this and I wasn't really paying attention. I think actually more so I was looking inside here. This is where I thought I was being smart. So we had the 1, 2, 3, we had this, and I thought, oh, okay, ain't I smart for seeing this, right? And I thought, okay, cool. So we have something like this. But really and truly, my plan all along was wait for the push down, a flag, and let's sell. That is what I waited for, but that's what I was supposed to wait for. But then I started getting kind of clued up with what price was developing into. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to take a risk entry over here. And you can see I mapped it in over here. And I really thought this was a AFT, and I thought, and it's not progressive. Where's the strong impulse? Like, need a small impulse there, one impulsive leg, pushes away from that price, creates a small little tight flag, and there we go. That's the sort of AFT you want, not this piece of, cow dung. Um, anyway, it is what it is. Right now, I think what we're going to have to wait for is this to just do whatever it has to do, come down, create a flag, and then we're in for the trade here. And I think that is sort of the AFT sort of style entry there. Um, but I think more so I will stay true to myself, and I'll look for something like that now. And I think this is the more so trade that I'll take to be feel protected. Um, so yeah, so I'll be more so looking for something like this, and then yeah, I'll be getting involved in the markets in a flag on that sort of size. And yeah, that's basically it for me. So that's Aussie CAD. Next one I've got is it's a little bit more messier now. So I'm still just so I had this pinging for me. As you can see, I have my alerts still on there. I just removed that now. So yeah, had this as the override, had this as the 1, 2, 3. It seems like this is just the nature at the moment. We seem to do this M star sort of 1, 2, 3 push, get us extend away, go to the override. This seems like what's going on all over the markets at the moment. So I think it's one of them ones where you need to be extra patient with these trades, but when they commit, they're going to commit really well, unless we have something massively changing in the markets and we have this bull momentum, and then markets are just committing to the upside. For me, I've seen patterns like this many times, and it can just definitely just shoot up and just keep going towards this point over here. So I'll definitely mark that down as a override three, which I haven't really done before actually. So override three, and yeah, so we've broken override one. It's now somewhat irrelevant to me. We have override two and three. So override two is basically this little hook point here, and if we can shoot up and we can bang into that point, that would be great. It seems like we're about to approach some news very shortly. The news is PPMOM, so I don't know what that is, but yeah. Um, Hopefully create some volatility and we can push the GBP up. US dollar goes down ever so much. It seems like the US dollar is definitely in downtrend, so wouldn't be surprised about that. Gonna have to just give it a minute and just monitor it. What have I done? Okay, there we go. So yeah, so essentially gonna have to just be patient with that. Nothing to really take on GBP at the moment. Looking for the push down and a flag. That's my line in the sand right here. Let's see. Have I got a Have I got a line in the sand? No. I'll just call it here. Line in the sand. Um, and then yeah, any flag below there is nice. And then if we get a push to that override, which I'm looking for, I'll take that. Call it a near miss, double top, mini double top, whatever. It's not going to be the highest probability trade, so this would not be a trade that I'll take at that point. I'll just have to wait for more commitment, larger flag. But GBP USD, pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Okay, crude oil. Now, crude oil is one that's just committed off and to the sell. I'm not convinced with the sell. I'm still thinking that this can bounce back, and we are in that bounce back zone I was looking at. So there's two ways. We can either come down to this point here, which is seeming a little bit more probable as each day goes on. Um, we can come down to this point and create something a little bit more parallel. Because if we take this bit over here and stick it down there, it kind of just gets in there. So wouldn't be surprised if we can just squeeze in there, even tap into one of these overrides and then push back up, and create that larger flag. Would be interested. It's not the cleanest of middle sections. In fact, it's definitely messy, but I'm used to quite messy patterns with oil at the moment. So yeah, I think essentially if I was going to be taking this, I'd have to see it go to the 123. I think putting this on watch was probably a bad idea at this point now, because either it's going to come in Friday and we're going to get there close and then be ready for next week. So I think oil I'll probably be taking off my watch list. I'm not going to focus on it, not going to look at it, but maybe I might add. I'm not too sure. I'll evaluate, but I think yeah, I think it's a way away at the moment. So it's really no point focusing on it. Looking for that solid push down and push up. If we do sell off and create a flag, I won't be interested because we still got that low to breach. Yeah, it's not the cleanest, not the best, but yeah, it's not really one I'm going to be looking at much. Next one I've got is US CAD. US CAD is very premature at the moment. I think I realized this as well, and I didn't change it. I think I just reset it. This is way too big. This leads me into the beginning of December, but nevertheless, I think that particular pattern is definitely a possibility. Seeing a larger flag, perhaps not that large though. That's the one thing I kind of realized. You know, it definitely paints the picture of what I'm looking for. I just think this could be something a little bit more, and I'll just remove this quickly. I think what I'm actually looking for is sort of this going like this. No, oops. And then I get the sell, and then it kind of comes in like that, or um, or this goes up and then just gets, I don't know, to be honest, don't know what I was thinking, but yeah, so give it some time to materialize. But I think this is just going to commit and push down and sell off, and I think by the time I actually see it, I'll be like, so it's one of them trades. But I think more so if I was going to be looking at it, you know this would be more so a trade, or perhaps maybe I will be able to catch it in there, get a little bit more, and yeah, something like this. um and now this is kind of tapped in there, it just trickles, gets up a bit higher, comes in, comes in for maybe another touch, and then sells. Something like that, I mean, at this point, I'm not really solidly convinced. I'll just have to wait and see, to be honest. I'll wait and see. Next one I've got is GBP New Zealand. And I think I put USD CAD on just because I love that pair. Honestly, I'm not too sure why I put it on. I think it's just I felt, I'll have it on watch and just monitor it for no reason. Um, honestly, it'll play out. It'll be well. GBP New Zealand dollar. Now, one thing about GBP New Zealand dollar is it's definitely got massive potential. I think it's just building up a lot of momentum right now, and I think I'm going to see something a lot larger on the table. So I think this is going to become something a lot bigger than I can expect, and this is becoming a middle section right now. And then, we're going to see this essentially come back up here, and then we see a sell-off, something like, something in that sort of region. I wouldn't be too surprised about. Um, how we see it, I don't know. I can't really tell you at this point. Um, I think from the original forecast to where we are now, yeah, I think just need to give it a bit of time. And I think when it does play out, it's going to be nice. So let's just take this as an override sort of section. Um, and yeah, so that's essentially what I'm waiting for. I wouldn't be surprised if one of these news triggers and then we just impulse up. If we go, oh, that would be insanely good, right? If we just get an impulsive approach, push back down, flag, and then we're in for this sell back to this low and then onwards. That's the sort of game plan I'm looking for. So call it a 1-2-3 with an override. That's more so the trade I'm going to be looking for. I don't think I'll divert anything away from this. Perhaps maybe we could even push up a little bit higher, tap into one of these zones, but more so straight push up, push down on the flag. What news is this? So this is inflation rates, possible. UK autumn statement and retail sales, and that's on Friday, 18th. So yeah, Friday, um, Thursday, and tomorrow. 7 a.m. They all at 7 a.m. 7 a.m., 12:30, 7 a.m. Okay. Interesting. Okay. So we're going to see London session as well. There's going to be some momentum. There's going to be some kick. We'll see how that plays out. Hopefully this looks good. Looks good. So the next one I've got is New Zealand US dollar. New Zealand US dollar is one that I've marked as red as well. I'm waiting for this one to come out and play today. Come out and play. No, honestly, um, every time I look at myself in the webcam, I think of this guy. I'm gonna put him in a little video up here. Um, so yeah, so essentially, what I'm seeing here is this is just an inflection point, nothing of major interest, but could we potentially see ourselves tap into that and then push back lower? So what I'm currently seeing, if I go to the 1 hour, um, what I'm looking for, and I'll just evolve this again. Let's just quickly grab. Nope. I think the flag I've drawn is a little bit big, but it's not a problem. I want it to be a bit more equal to this one. We'll evaluate it when it comes in, and then hopefully we can get left shoulder, right shoulder, head, and then we sell in. And I think that's more of a nicer pattern to complement this inflection point. Um, However, we definitely have to wait because it's a very corrective leg. So the commitment could be a lot more than I expect, but there will definitely be some level of continuation after. So I think patience is the key for this one as well. But when it plays out well. Could be a tomorrow trade because sometimes these correct for a while up here before they just really commit, and then when they do commit, they'll take another day to really play out. So in this case, actually, this one took quite a while. This one took yeah, almost about 2 days. So definitely more than enough time to really get involved. Let's see about this flag over here. Yeah, so this one as well, right? 3 days. Wow, honestly, so much time to get involved. So yeah, there'll be a lot of time hopefully for me to get process this, to get involved. I would love to get involved high up in the run, but I think at the moment taking the losses previously this week, well, Monday yesterday, I took a loss. I don't want to take another risk entry so high up in structure. So I'm going to definitely wait, and then when I've obviously built up a little bit more capital, I'll then use whatever I've made this week to take another entry. But I take it week on week, so whatever happened last week is last week. Whatever happens this week is this week. So treat each week differently, and that's kind of my methodology at the moment. Next one is GBP CAD. So GBP CAD is sick. So I wanted this. I mean, what you want, you don't get sometimes, right? So I wanted this sort of larger pattern. Unfortunately, it's not really a possibility at this point. So I'm just going to remove that and let's just shape it up to what it actually is. So we have to actually separate this completely and look at it as one pattern. So I'm going to take in the larger structure again and look at it like this. And essentially, this is the pattern. This is the pattern I'm looking at. Um, there is an override here, there's an override there, and then there's a 1, 2, 3. The 1, 2, 3, I'm not too convinced that we're going to get there, but it's possible, very much possible. Um, hmm, just evaluating. We have a mini double top, which we're approaching in now. Looks like we're going to bypass that and potentially get to the override too. Looking at EuroCAD, I wouldn't be surprised as well if we did push a little bit further because there is another inflection. Oh no, we are at it. Um, and then Aussie CAD. Hmm, perhaps maybe there's a little bit of room for GBP CAD to squeeze up before it squeezes down. If we evaluate on the 1 hour, how have we got there? Well, we've approached it impulsive again. Now this is a corrected little squeeze. Tap in. No scoop, no real scoops. Bit to think about, especially with the other GBP USD evaluating that one. It looks like there's going to be some bullish momentum in there. So separating it completely from the other two, I think this one's probably going to push up a little bit further. So I'd give that one some time to do what it needs to do, and then essentially comes up, does whatever it has to do, comes in, put a flag, goes down, puts another flag, and then we're in for the game. So essentially push up, push down, flag in. And I think that is the sort of gameplay I'm going to be looking for. So I'll leave that as it is. Next one I've got is CAD Yen. Now, CAD Yen is one that I'm just waiting for the commitment. I'm just waiting for this to sell. I don't care so much about what it's doing right here, unless we come back up here and then, we do something. But I need that push down flag. And it'll probably be impulsive before we get another flag, but there's a lot of room. If we can get that impulsive break that I'm looking for, which, we've broken this impulsive. And I think there's a lot of opportunity here right now, but I just want to see it commit under this structure. If I get that commitment, I'm going to be so interested in getting this sell for Kajen. So that's one that I've marked as red as well. It's the only ones I've been watching today. And obviously USD, which is a special one. But yeah, that's basically it really. So push down, large flag in Euro Australian dollar. Now, Euro Australian dollar, I'm convinced that now we are ready for the buy. We've tapped into this zone here and we started getting bullish commitment. This is what I've been looking for. Even though we have the state of impulse correction continuation, this middle section is just a bit larger now. That's all it is. That's all it is to me. It's a larger middle section. And I think looking at it like this is something I'm more interested in. So it was a potential middle section, and now it is a middle section. Not the cleanest, but it doesn't have to be. Now I want to see this commit and give me what I want. So what I want is for this price to push up and give me flags. So way away for me actually, to be honest. So it doesn't really matter what happens down here. But this is the middle section, which honestly, I don't think this is going to sell now. I think with all of this momentum, this is off the table. This has changed massively. With all of this corrective squeeze here, if I go to the daily, look at that. When do you ever see price comes to third touch and corrects this many days? Honestly, this is going to be a blast. This is going to be this. Honestly, what on earth? I need to get involved in Euro AUD. Honestly, like, oh my god, oh my gosh, everyone's trying to get involved in Euro Aussie. I'm going to get involved in Euro Aussie. Just need to figure out how. Definitely going to have to wait for something, but I think it's going to impulse, probably create some small correction. That's the one that's just going to go. So need to be keeping an eye out for this one as well. I think this one's definitely one to just keep on the radar. I'll probably mark it as red, keep it in the background, but boy, this is going to be an immense position. Right now in impulse correction, confusion to the state of continuation, but I think it's more so in the state of reversal where we are in this sort of, take away this and just look at it for what it is in high and low, you know, where are we? We're just basically correcting in the middle of nowhere. So I don't want to just create some sort of context for myself to just get into involved in a position, but I want to see some sort of solid commitment. And I think the flag below here isn't as probable, actually. I think the flag above is the probable trade. Um, Giving it a little bit more thought. Anything above there, I'll take it. So yeah, give it some time, let it materialize, and yeah, when it's ready, it's ready. So probably just be a bit smart, setting an alert over here. And then, yeah, I've been using alerts recently. It's pretty good. And yeah, that's it. So it will ping my phone, ping my computer, and all that. And yeah, I'll be looking to monitor it then. So Euro New Zealand dollar. I think Euro New Zealand dollar's definitely got potential. I think currently where it is, there's definitely potentially a buying opportunity because we have this sort of middle section. But with how the weekly is, I think it's very impulsive at the moment, and I don't know if I'd want to take the counter trend. I think I'd want to get involved on a sell if the sell eventually comes around. The way I'm seeing it is we've got this sort of corrective sort of pull back up to the 123. Um, I'd say look at it on the daily for what it is, and then evaluate on the lower time frames. And then as you go to the 4 hour, you can see that we have a 123 potentially leading up to the override over here. We have this with a corrective middle section that we can probably now say is, um, let's say, completed because it is very parallel at this point. We've had a push up, and now if we go to the 1 hour, I think given that permission, we can say that if you look at it, like, let's say if you look at it and you take it in for down here, but you call that the section, you could probably try take this trade with about 10 pip. I would say that's very risky. But yeah, I mean, not the best of trades in my opinion, but I think, this has potential. It's definitely giving me some um, you know, sort of flag vibes like this as well. So I don't know if I would take a trade here, probably up here, I'd be more inclined just because I have that trend line break. But flag below this definitely seems probable. Probably one that could just tag you and tag you out. But the real gameplay is the push up, push down on the flag. So it is a wild card. Probably at this rate, it's going to be ready by Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. If we get that impulsive leg, if we keep stalling, then we may just get a move to this low inflection point and then see a push. So I'm not too convinced, but Euro New Zealand dollar is one to be a bit patient with as well. But when it does play out, I think it's going to play out quite well. So definitely have to keep that one on watch on the side. Last but not least, we have Euro US dollar. Now, Euro US dollar has now actually given me some sort of nice sort of. It's a bit annoying because a lot of things were telling me to get involved here, and I would have just done this around. I think it was around about here. I would have just slapped in here and taken about 60 pip, just because I think if this is going to go, it's not technically the worst of trades as well. Even if I took it a little bit more, I'd still be running some good profit. 1% still a lot of money. And yeah, so essentially that, that could just go. And I think, just for something to have on the side, it's definitely a good sort of trade. I mean, right now I'm seeing this here. This could probably push above, gives you enough room to add maybe a 40 pip stop loss. I don't think it's uncommon because of the volatility we may see with this particular pair. But yeah, so, but more so, I think if this comes back down here, we could look for a refine maybe around about 13. I would say maybe call it about 17. Get in there, and then boom, we're in for the trade, and that can be rewarding in terms. So Euro USD, I think that's one that I'm just going to ping on a red as well. I think I'll take off EA. I don't think EA is one that I'm going to really focus on. I think EA I'll leave, and I think CADGen as well. I think I'll wait for that one to materialize a little bit more. New Zealand US dollar, I think that one's going to near up be ready. Aussie CAD, give it just a couple minutes, couple hours, it'll be there. EuroCAD, indecisive, and then we've got silver running. Silver is currently running a little bit slower than expected. May have to lock in that break even because we've tapped into that inflection zone. So yeah, so essentially, um, yeah, just gonna play it cool. I'm just gonna keep it really cool, see how this goes. But yeah, silver I think is going to be the monster trade for me. I think it's going to surprise me and just really commit. It seems like it's typical right now for something like that, especially with the way it's been moving. So give it some time, let it materialize, let it nature up, and then yeah, we'll see. And then Euro USD seems like the run is beginning. So there's a 40 pip potential there, but it's not in my plan to just take a trade here. I'll wait for that to come back down, create maybe something like a two touch, one, two, three, and then boom, I'm in for the trade. So patience is key. Have a good week, and yeah, thanks for watching.